6,533 views when I got it. Put up by the Fugitive Crime. Title: Disturbing new footage of Trump shooters training goes viral. So let's sit back and have a listen. It's up on BookTube. I'll do my best to try to block any ads as they pop up.
Upon seeing the horrifying footage of Donald Trump coming dangerously close to being assassinated, the whole world came to a complete and utter stop, and the history of the United States was nearly altered to the point where it could not be reversed. However, this new footage that has just gone viral will shock you even more. Disturbing new footage. A lady who was seated behind Donald Trump when he survived his assassination attempt has been brought under suspicion due to the strange conduct she exhibited throughout the scary event. The video that has gone viral shows an unnamed lady taking out her phone as bullets are being fired at the event that took place in Pennsylvania on Saturday. She is wearing sunglasses, a white blouse, and a black hat. She did this when everyone else, including Trump, crawled to the ground in terror for their life. Following Saturday's tragedy, several wild conspiracy theories have gained momentum thanks to the images. There is a post on X that has been watched more than 19 million times, and it is begging people to pay close attention to the lady. Gunshots ring out, and her first instinct is to very calmly pull out her phone and film the whole spectacle. Does that seem like normal behavior to you? Says the text of another post that has achieved widespread popularity. Despite the fact that they did not provide any proof to back up their outlandish claims, some users of X even claimed that the lady gave a nod before the first shot was fired. One user even went so far as to imply that the woman was an accomplice and part of the training sessions that she participated in with the shooter. Other people, on the other hand, suggested that the woman's calm manner was owing to the fact that mass shootings are so regular in the United States. A person who uses X asked, "Is this how numb we are to gun violence in America? Watch the woman in white with the black hat right behind Trump. Rather than take cover or, I don't know, protect the child behind her, she takes out her phone and starts recording." The attempted murder of the former president has resulted in a wide sea of allegations, some of which are ridiculous. However, these claims are a reflection of the terrible uncertainties that surround the incident, as well as the current political atmosphere in the United States, which is feverish and split. The fact that such wild speculation has exploded as Americans turn to the internet for news about the shooting is the latest indication of how social media has emerged as a dominant source of information and misinformation for many people, and a contributor to the distrust and turbulence that is currently driving American politics. According to Peak Metrics, a cyber organization that monitors online narratives, the number of times that President Trump was mentioned on social media in the hours after the shooting was up to 17 times more than usual. Many of those remarks were either statements of love and support for Trump or pleas for togetherness. However, a great number of other people made statements that were utterly implausible and baseless. A significant number of the more flimsy allegations attempted to place responsibility for the assault on the Democratic opponent, President Joe Biden. As soon as the shooting occurred, there were voices on the left that immediately declared it to be a false flag that was contrived by Trump. On the other hand, there were fans of Trump who argued that the Secret Service had willfully failed to protect Trump on the instructions of the White House. On Sunday, the Secret Service responded to allegations that were circulating on social media, which said that the Trump campaign had requested more protection before the event that took place on Saturday, but they were denied. Videos of the incident were swiftly scrutinized in political echo chambers as both fans and opponents of Trump sought evidence to back up their own viewpoints. As proof that the shooting was an inside operation, videos were shown that showed Secret Service personnel pulling audience members away from Trump before the shooting. Images of Trump's stubbornly raised fist were used to prove the contrary accusation, which was that Trump was the one who orchestrated the whole affair. As a result of the shooting that took place on Saturday and resulted in the death of one spectator, detectives were searching for any hints that may shed light on the possible motivations that caused Thomas Matthew Crooks, who was 20 years old, to carry out the horrifying act. Although the FBI said that they were examining it as a possible act of domestic terrorism, the fact that the guy who was shot dead by the Secret Service did not seem to have a clear ideological motivation led to the proliferation of conspiracy theories. Furthermore, Crooks, who was found to have bomb-making ingredients in the vehicle he drove to the event, is believed to have acted alone, according to the FBI. In addition, Trump said that the top portion of his right ear had been perforated as a result of the gunshot. However, his aide stated that he was in great spirits prior to his arrival in Milwaukee on Sunday for the Republican National Convention. On the contrary, if the shooter had murdered Trump, might that have sparked a civil war of unprecedented proportions in American history, inch away from civil war? Donald Trump has stated, "I'm supposed to be dead, and it is remarkable how close he came to being dead." This gunshot, which was fired by Thomas Matthew Crooks from a roof in Pennsylvania, came close to hitting the head of the former president. Furthermore, experts warned that the United States of America was 1 inch away from civil war. We can call this distasteful speculation if we wish, but it's not hyperbolic, because it summarizes the mood on the ground and the popular memory of past catastrophes. When people talk about civil war, they are not referring to the 1860s, when North and South had opposing governments and armies numbering in the thousands. Instead, people are referring to the 1960s, when assassinations were the catalyst for civil unrest and armed fanatics were hiding in the shadows until the conflict broke out. For example, 43 people were killed, 3,500 were wounded, and 27,000 were jailed as a result of the riots that occurred in April 1968 in response to the killing of Martin Luther King Jr. Both Trump and Biden are of an age where they can recall such times, and their perspectives on the world are influenced by those times. According to the current system, in the event that one of the two presidents were to pass away or be murdered before their official nomination at a convention, their delegates would have the ability to choose an alternative via a series of floor votes. Additionally, misinformation fuels madness. Conspiracies surrounding the Trump shooting have surpassed those around JFK or the moon landings. There are many who claim that Trump orchestrated the shooting incident. Some claim that the shooter's ability to approach so near suggests an inside job, or that the protection was purposefully reduced to put him in danger. But that's not all. The fact that the Democrats successfully demonized Trump and turned him into a target is a more interesting theory. Representative Mike Collins wrote on X, "Joe Biden sent the orders. However, Trump has often disparaged his opponents, and it's still unknown what the gunman's political allegiances are." Senator Tim Scott expressed his opinion that Democrats and their friends in the media had foolishly fostered concerns throughout the election. Also, the provocative language that they use puts people's lives in danger. Thus, Tim Scott claims, it's not hard to predict the ensuing violent conduct if Trump had been murdered. Imagine a string of January 6th attacks, a trail of occasional mob violence that targeted officials, journalists, voting sites, and maybe even conferences. Well, it's happened before. An activist on the extreme right who thought that the United States government was at war with its own people was responsible for the explosion that took place in Oklahoma in 1995, meaning that a revolutionary scenario arises when individuals believe that the state is against them and cannot be altered via the voting box. In other words, the death of Trump would have caused the nation to go even farther down a path that it was already traveling. As a result of obtaining a peak of the precipice into chaos, many individuals in the United States are hoping that people will now take a step back. However, the early signs are encouraging. The shooting has been met with widespread condemnation, and there has been widespread compassion for the Trump family. For example, Nikki Haley, his rival in the primaries, has agreed to speak at the Republican convention. In addition, Trump said that he has altered his address with the intention of promoting national unity, despite the fact that his first speech that included bashing Mr. Biden was supposed to be another humdinger. According to what Trump stated, it is a chance to bring the country together. He added, "I was given that chance." On the other side, this is the gunman who attempted to murder Donald Trump, as well as the truth about who he really was. Thomas Matthew Crooks. Bethel Park, a tiny suburb of Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania, was in a state of shock when the FBI identified a young man from the area, Thomas Matthew Crooks, as the one who fired shots at Donald Trump, which stunned the whole country. Based on the findings of the investigation, it is believed that Crooks, who was equipped with a semi-automatic AR-15 rifle, opened fire on the former president when he was addressing a gathering in Butler, Pennsylvania. As a result, one member of the audience was killed and 2 others were injured. Officials have said that a Secret Service sniper was responsible for the death of the 20-year-old assassin who was shot at the site. Neighbors in his prosperous suburb, on the other hand, are in a state of astonishment, as they seem to be unable to comprehend how a modest young guy can suddenly be suspected of being involved in the massacre. For its part, the FBI has simply said that Crooks was the subject involved in the assassination attempt on the former president, and that an active investigation was underway. Since Thomas Crooks had not been carrying any form of identification, the FBI said that they were able to identify him via the use of DNA and face recognition technologies. He was a native of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, which is around 43 miles away from the location where the attempted murder took place. According to a local newspaper, he graduated from Bethel Park High School in 2022 with an award for mathematics and science. According to members of the staff at the nursing home where Crooks worked, he was able to pass a background check, and there were no concerns raised about him. Also, a confirmation has been made by the Community College of Allegheny that Crooks attended the institution during the months of September September 2021 and May 2024. After completing his studies, he received an associate's degree in engineering science. It said that he graduated with high honors and that an examination of his records revealed that there were no problems relating to student behavior, disciplinary actions, or security. In February, the University of Pittsburgh informed law enforcement that he had been accepted as a transfer student there for the fall 2024 semester. Within the subsequent month, he made the decision to not show up. According to reports from the United States media, the state voter records indicate that he was a registered Republican. Additionally, in 2021, he made a gift of $15 to the leftist campaign organization Act Blue, as stated in a filing for election donations and stories in the media. Also, he had a membership at
Kamala was in on.
Ad popped up. I'll get rid of it.
at a local shooting club for at least a year. Situated south of Pittsburgh, the shooting club is considered as one of the premier shooting facilities in the tri-state area, consisting of West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. There are almost 2,000 members. It has many shooting ranges, one of which is a high-power rifle range with targets as far away as 171 meters. Bill Solito, the club's proprietor, described the shooting as a terrible, terrible thing to the police. According to attorney Robert S. Butte III, who represents the organization, obviously, the club fully admonishes the senseless act of violence, told the police. According to the findings of the investigation, law enforcement authorities think that Crook's father was the one who acquired the firearm that was used to shoot at Donald Trump. Despite the fact that there is no evidence to show that the father had any idea what was about to happen, it is not apparent how the firearm ended up in the possession of his adult son. Crook's father reportedly purchased the firearm at least 6 months ago, according to 2 cops who spoke to the Associated Press on the condition of anonymity. The authorities also claim that Crooks bought a package of ammo on the day of the incident that included 50 rounds. But that's not all. A t-shirt from Demolition Ranch, a YouTube channel that is well known for its programming related to demolition and firearms, was reportedly worn by Crooks, as reported by the media in the United States. There are millions of people who subscribe to the channel, which has videos on a variety of firearms and explosive devices. Following the incident, law enforcement officials informed CBS that suspicious devices were discovered in Crooks's truck. Also, this information was provided the day following the shooting. CBS said that the suspect was in possession of a piece of technology that was freely accessible for purchase and looked capable of starting the devices. Thus, bomb technicians were sent to the location in order to secure the devices and conduct an investigation. Additionally, the FBI said on July 15th that its forensic scientists had successfully accessed Crooks's phone, and they are now studying it together with other digital data in search of clues. On the day of the shooting, Kevin Rojek, the special agent in charge of the FBI Pittsburgh division, said that the investigation into what went place may extend for many months, and that detectives would work tirelessly to determine what Crook's motivation was. Also, Matthew Crooks, Crook's father, said in an interview with CNN that he was attempting to find out what the hell is going on, but that he would wait until I talked to law enforcement before commenting about his son. It has been claimed by CBS, citing 3 different law enforcement sources, that his father phoned the police after the shooting, but the substance of that call is still unknown at this time. As of this moment, there have been over 100 interviews carried out in total. According to the Bethel Park Police Department, there was a bomb investigation going on outside Crook's residence. An officer's truck is blocking the entrance to the street in front of the residence, ensuring that access to the area is still strictly restricted. According to individuals inside law enforcement, they have expressed their belief that there was some kind of preparation prior to the shooting. How much time was spent on such planning, on the other hand, is still being looked at as part of an ongoing investigation. However, the police are continuing their investigation to determine whether or not Crooks was accompanied to the event. For now, they suspect that Crooks acted alone. In an interview with a local news channel, a number of young people who attended the same school as Thomas characterized him as a solitary individual who was sometimes bullied and who seemed to wear hunting outfits to school. Another former classmate of his, Summer Barkley, had a different impression of him. She told the BBC that he was always getting good grades on tests, and that he was very passionate about history. Anything on government and history he seemed to know about, she said. In addition, those who knew him merely recalled him as being quiet. He was there, but I can't think of anyone who knew him well, said a former classmate who wished to remain unnamed while speaking to the BBC. Another student, who also did not want to be recognized, characterized him as intelligent but a little weird. Furthermore, it was reported to the news by employees of Angelo's Pizza, a restaurant located in Bethel Park, that they were familiar with Crooks. Sarah Petco, the owner of the restaurant, said that the staff members, some of whom were his classmates, believed that he was a loner, but that they were having difficulty comprehending how a guy who was normally quiet could become violent. "It's just crazy and too close for comfort," she said. "To think that someone at basically the start of his life could do this." Jameson Myers, a former member of the Bethel Park High School varsity rifle team who graduated alongside Crooks in 2022, told the news that Crooks did not make the team. "He did not even make the junior varsity team after trying out," Mr. Myers added. "He never returned to tryouts for the remainder of high school. This individual shot terrible and wasn't really fit for the rifle team," according to another former classmate who spoke with ABC News. On the other hand, this incident is not only bringing about a new historical event in the United States, but it is also providing Trump with the opportunity to unquestionably win the elections that are going to take place on November 5th, 2024. Trump will win the elections. It didn't take long after the attempted murder of Donald Trump, the death of one of his rally-goers.
I don't know why they think that Trump will win the election. Not if Big Mike's got his name in the ring. Another ad popped up. I'll get rid of it.
And the injury of 2 others for the political world's attention to shift to a crude but obviously vital topic. What would it mean for Trump politically? As far as commenters and posters on social media are concerned, there have essentially been 2 distinct intuitive responses that are in direct opposition to one another. The first response is that this is a political advance for Trump, which increases the likelihood that he will win the election in November. The second response is to warn against becoming very excited about it, since it could not make much of a difference. Due to the fact that we do not know what will happen in the future, we are unable to declare for certain. On the other hand, each of them is supported by arguments that are relatively persuasive. There are several instances throughout history of presidents who have used a near-miss assassination attempt as a justification to consolidate power and restrict civil freedoms during times of crisis. Since Trump is not already in office, he is unable to do that at this time. However, the primary issue is whether or not this will have an impact on his potential to win. Many people, including some of the most outspoken detractors of Trump, are of the opinion that it will significantly improve his prospects for a variety of reasons, including the ones you're about to hear. There has been a lack of interest in political news on both sides of the aisle for a significant portion of this year. Nonetheless, there have been issues over whether Trump's base in particular was less mobilized than they were in years before this. For example, there was a significant decrease in the number of visitors to conservative news websites, and the campaign of Donald Trump was having difficulty gathering money from small donors. But this started to change once Trump was found guilty of a criminal offense on May 30th. As a result, this resulted in a significant increase in the amount of money donated to Trump's campaign, which eliminated Biden's advantage in terms of cash. Thus, it is possible that the attempt on Trump's life may serve as a comparable catalyst, the kind of lightning jolt of attention that will bring his supporters together in support of him and assure that they will vote in the next election. Sometimes, when a prominent politician gets shot but manages to live, there is a surge of compassion and support for them. As a result of President Ronald Reagan being shot in 1981 and suffering considerably more severe injuries, his popularity rating rose from around 60% to approximately 68% in Gallup surveys. For Trump, a significant amount of digital ink was spent on the analysis of the possible political worth of photographs taken of him shortly after the incident. The most notable of these photographs were shot by Evan Vucci for the Associated Press and showed a bleeding Trump raising his fist while the American flag was behind him. Many of his followers expressed their opinion on social media that it made him seem tough, and many of them drew a parallel to the event that occurred in 1912 when Theodore Roosevelt was wounded while delivering a campaign address and continued his speech. Some observers, like Eric Levitz, have claimed that a significant trend in politics is that voters with low levels of trust in society and the political system are shifting rightward. It is certain that the conspiracy theories around the killing will be distorted in order to push the narrative that they, Democrats, the media, and hidden powers, intended this to happen and are in some way responsible for it. Such arguments are already being openly advanced by some of Trump's friends. If they are successful, they have the potential to further increase the Republican Party's developing lead among people who have little faith in the party. That is not all, however. After the failed assassination attempt, the stock price of Trump media skyrockets. In other words, Wall Street reassessed the chances of former President Donald Trump winning his re-election campaign after Saturday's failed assassination attempt, which resulted in the stock price of Trump Media and Technology Group skyrocketing by 30% 22% during trading on Monday. In the morning trading session, the firm, which is the owner of the Truth Social platform, increased its price by $9.98 to $40.87. Thus, Trump Media shares have been seeing unpredictable trading patterns ever since they went public in March, but this spike has reversed a 6-week decline that they had been experiencing. Some people consider Trump Media to be a meme stock due to the fact that its wild swings are largely influenced by social media enthusiasm rather than the business fundamentals that investors typically look for, such as growth in profit and revenue. Therefore, the botched attempt at assassination seems to have the potential to improve Donald Trump's chances of winning the presidential election in November. According to analysts, The Economist's prediction model now gives Trump a 3 in 4 probability of winning the election. The events of the past few weeks, Joe Biden's shockingly poor debate performance, followed by Saturday's attempted assassination of Donald Trump, all but guarantee a strong Republican performance in November's U.S. elections, said Louis Vincent Gave, CEO of investment research firm GaveCal, in a report. According to the financial data firm FactSet, the increase in the price of Trump Media's shares on Monday morning caused the company's market value to increase by about $1.9 billion, bringing its total capitalization to $7.8 billion. With 114 million shares, the former president is the biggest stakeholder in the firm. This spike has resulted in the embryonic social media firm achieving a market value that is comparable to that of several well-established companies such as U.S. Steel, which had a revenue of $4.2 billion during the first quarter of the year. When compared to other companies, Trump Media had revenues of $770,500 over the same period. In order to show their support for the former president, a significant number of Trump Media's owners are very modest investors who have purchased the company's shares. It is for this reason that a number of Wall Street experts have observed that the corporation tends to function as a barometer of the likelihood of Trump being re-elected. On Monday morning, members of a group that focuses on DJT shares speculated on Truth Social that the stock may continue to gain momentum in the wake of the incident that occurred on Saturday. Also, it was anticipated by some that investors who had shorted the stock may be trapped in a situation known as a short squeeze, which occurs when short sellers are forced to buy shares in order to cover their position when the shares of a firm actually rise, contrary to what they had predicted would happen. Don't even think about selling yet. This is just the beginning, one person in the group wrote on Monday morning. Another added, if you don't own DJT, you are not a patriot. If you enjoyed watching this video,
What has to happen is they have to investigate all of those short sellers and try to determine as to what caused them to sell Trump stock short. They also have to investigate all those short sellers on United and American on 9/11, but they never did. Ever wonder why? I'll attach the link. Look at it, pass it along, and thanks for listening.